how to use the Fibonacci sequence and spiral to aid your meditations from manifestations and to also ascend into the celestial realms. So I'd like to start up with what the Fibonacci sequence is. Now, according to this article in mathnasium.com, the Fibonacci sequence, the crown jewels of mathematics. And as I earlier on said, God geometrized, and everything in the world is created according to a mathematical precision. The Fibonacci sequence and golden ratio have a close relationship. The Fibonacci sequence is recursive, that is generated by adding the last two previous numbers in the sequence, starting from 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so forth. And if you were to draw a line starting in the right bottom corner of a golden rectangle within the first square and then touching each succeeding multiple square outside the corners, you would create a Fibonacci spiral. This famous pattern shows up everywhere in nature, including flowers, pine cones, hurricanes, and even huge spiral galaxies in space. Humans have known about the golden ratio for at least 4,000 years, some say even longer. The latest research shows that it was used in the design of the hieroglyphics found on the tomb walls and also in the construction of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures throughout the world. Our perception of balance and proportion is shaped by the golden ratio, a mathematical concept. The golden ratio of 1.618 may be found in nature, geometry, the human body, and the solar system, among other places. We can see this article, a remarkable discovery, all solar system periods fit the Fibonacci series and the golden ratio. We can also see here Leonardo Fibonacci, who was born in 1170 in the town called Pisa. And we can see these two famous artists, Leonardo da Vinci, born in 1454, and Michelangelo, born in 1475, who incorporated the Fibonacci sequence and spiral in their work. The golden ratio was used by Leonardo da Vinci in his works, including the Mona Lisa. It was also used by Michelangelo in his painting, The Creation of Adam, and the Sistine Chapel, and the Great Mosque of Cairo, the Pyramids of Giza, and the Pantheon all incorporated it into their designs. A Fibonacci sequence illustrations depict what most would consider beautiful in real life. The most famous examples are found in nature. If you want to know more about the Fibonacci sequence, you can go on the internet. You can go to this website, mathnasium.com, or just Google the Fibonacci sequence. I just give this as an overview so that we can appreciate what the Fibonacci is all about, while I now go into the details of how we can use it to be able to manifest our desires more easily. So let's get into it. So we already understand how the numbers are formed, which I would still delve into. But the most important aspect is the formation of the spiral, which you will visualize springing forth from your mind and your heart. And because you see yourself flowing in union with this pattern, this natural pattern, things will manifest for you more easily. However, it is not only about visualizing the spiral and you in it. You have to understand the sequence and to also understand the significance of the clockwise or anti-clockwise rotation of the spiral. So let's delve into it. Thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when mixed with purpose, persistence, and a burning desire. This quote is credited to Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. And it's quite interesting because if one understands the underlying principle of how something works, it gives it more meaning and power. This is because knowledge is power. And so I will now try to explain how this phenomenon works. So here now we're still going to apply some applications here with the first three numbers and the first principal element. This may seem a bit advanced for some people, but it's required to understand the application of this Fibonacci sequence. Now we're going to start from 0, and nothing cannot give rise to something. Nothing is actually a potential something. In the silence of nothing, thoughts spring forth. And this one is dualized. 1 plus 1 becomes 2. 1 plus 2 becomes 3. 2 plus 3 becomes 5. 3 plus 5 becomes 8. 5 plus 8 becomes 13. 8 plus 13 becomes 21. 13 plus 21 equals 34. 21 plus 34 equals to 55. I want to digress here a bit to illustrate something because of this number 10. In the 10 sequence, that is the 55. If we mathematically reduce it, we can get 1. That is 55 is equals to 5 plus 5 equals to 10, then 1. And as humans, we normally count in multiples of 10 to realize our original thoughts or crystallize our original thoughts. The first number has to do with air, your thoughts, which has to do with the mind. The second first number is the heart, and then the actions and the words you take. The heart and the mind combine to become one, which is that number 2 there. And then it goes on to number 3, which has to do with your emotion. The number 3 there, which also has to do with the ether. The ether is the primordial waters. And anytime we act on the ether with our emotions, a lot of things manifest even more easily. And then it now condenses into solids or into proper manifestation. So I'm going to explain further with my write-up here. But before I go any further, I want to talk about this first numbers, this number 1, number 2, and number 3, and apply it. The first one, talk about chemistry. Air and fire together condenses into liquid and then further condenses into solids. There's something called the prosperity experiment. Some mystics may know about it, but that is the principle behind it. I'm not at liberty to talk about it, but those who know what I'm talking about, if you really look at the condensation process, you'll be able to understand why it is called the prosperity experiment. Next, we have the book of the Bible, Genesis, the Spirit of God, which is air and fire, which are thoughts, words, and action moved over the surface of the waters before creation began. Now, the Spirit of God normally moves or manifests as air, wind, or fire. For those who have had the privilege of being visited by God or having that manifestation or His presence, you know that He always comes in fire or wind. Like Moses saw the burning bush. There are many places in the Bible where they talked about ministers and angels being like fire and air. Anyway, that's that. While in spiritual alchemy, we have in mercury, sulfur, and salt, which relate to the air, the fire, and the water. These 3 elements give rise to creation as well. Those who are into alchemy would understand this, and it also equates to the thoughts, the words, and the action. Anyway, all that I've discussed now is a bit deep, it's a bit esoteric. Those who are mystically minded will understand what I'm talking about. So let me break everything down into simpler forms so that we really understand the numbers and how to apply it and understand this sequence. The first one is 0, that is nothing. Learn to be in silence. Let your mind be blank, and the divine thoughts will come through to you. The next one is number 1, air, which is that thought, that divine thought. It is fleeting like air. Entrap it in the square. To manifest it by meditating upon it, contemplating it. To manifest it on earth by doing the following. The visible manifestation of air is fire. Air duplicates itself as fire. That is 1 + 1, air and fire, because fire works with air. Now the application, the air, the thought is the spark, and it is kindled by fire, which is the word and action which you take. So we have 1 + 1 is equals to 2. That is your thoughts, which is from your mind, plus the words and action, which is of your heart, must become 1. Next, we have 1 + 2 is equals to 3. That is your thoughts, which is from your mind, plus your words and action, which springs from your heart, plus your emotion, which also springs from your heart. Now the 3 here signifies your emotion. It is water. It is the ether, and that is the primordial waters in creation. Your emotion as a human being reflects or impinges on this ether. Your emotion acts as fuel to the word and action, that is fire, or for your thoughts, which is the air. That is why anytime you see something with emotion, it is like fiat. Remember, like all these actors, when they act, you think it's almost real. It is because they put so much emotion into it. Anything you see with emotion acts on the ether. So we now see the nature by numbers, Fibonacci numbers forming. And these numbers are basically just to show you how the spiral forms. So see yourself, visualize yourself, let your mind be blank, whatever it is you want. Then visualize what it is you want, say it in words, put emotion into it. See the spiral forming and impinging upon the ether the way you want it, putting emotion into it. Let it continue to flow in the ether. Now going in the clockwise direction, you're now going from whatever I desire into manifestation. And then you also see it coming back towards you in an anti-clockwise direction. Also, that anti-clockwise direction is a form of ascension into the heavenly planes. When you do that anti-clockwise direction. It is also a form of sublimation. So clockwise, you're condensing into solids from air to solids, while anti-clockwise, you're sublimating from solids up into the air. Psalm 23 depicts this sublimation. I had explained it in one of my videos. You may check out my YouTube channel for Psalm 23, where this sublimation was explained there. Also make sure that when you are in this Fibonacci spiral, you feel love, because love is the emotion. It's just like going along with the tide of God. When you are feeling that spiral in whatever direction, make sure that you feel love inside there, not hate. Love. In that way, you're flowing with the tide and flowing and going either clockwise or in an anti-clockwise direction. So I would like to give us a summary here of everything that I've talked about. First, your heart and mind must be one. Now, according to 0 in the Fibonacci sequence, learn to be in silence so that the right thoughts come through. Even though you have some desires, still learn to be in silence. In the Fibonacci sequence 1, you will meditate and contemplate your thoughts and your desire. You will speak life into it. You will take action. And you will imbue it or visualize it with fire. This fire has a way of purifying your your visualization against any discordant thoughts. So visualize it with fire all around it. And according to the Fibonacci number 3, you visualize always with full emotion as if it has already happened. This emotion is fuel, and it is fuel for your thoughts, for your actions, and it also acts on the ether so that it manifests. According to Fibonacci number 5, you see it expanding into reality, following the Fibonacci spiral, and be in the flow of love. Flow in love in the Fibonacci spiral, whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise, whether you are condensing it or sublimating it. Then this is a practice which I would advocate. Try to always listen to the solfeggio musical notes. The solfeggio musical notes also have something to do with the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. You can Google solfeggio musical notes. There are several of them, and there are several things that it does to the body. So always listen to these musical notes during meditation or just in your quiet time. It helps your vibration, it helps your DNA, so that your vibration is always following this solfeggio musical notes and the Fibonacci sequence. Learn to always talk about it. Whatever it is you are visualizing, affirm it with emotion. Make sure you take action, and it will be so in due time. Patience is key. And if it pleases God and the cosmic, it is done. Amen. I want to say something about amen here, so that you understand why Jesus Christ is called the Amen, because the A is for your thoughts in your mind. The U is for your words and emotion which springs from your heart. And they should be one. Your thoughts, your words and your emotion should be in one accord. And M is for manifestation by action through your hands, by your feet. From top to bottom does amen flow. From within to without does manifestation. Sure. I wish us cosmic illumination and peace profound. Amen. Thank you for watching. God bless all of us. Amen.